many videos lately, and Eddie's been yelling at me, and we're
True.
going to try to make one and make a one where we have two people on the video on Skype here. And Hetty,
Yeah.
we tried this before. We spent like 2 hours, and then I forgot to turn the record button on correctly. I think I have it recording. Right?
Perfect.
I
So,
think
hey
so.
everyone, I'm so happy to be a guest star as part of Ed's
Okay.
video.
Okay. All right, very good. So I'm not going to get yelled at. This one man yelled at me and said, "Oh, you'd spend way too much time blabbering on before you get to the point." So here's our point. We're going to make a scenario. We're going to show you. I have spent years making these scenarios with Index, and I was all proud of myself. And then I made a little scenario reporter that I thought kind of sucked because I used it in a class and it blew up. And Hetty told me, no, I use it all the time. And I said, oh, okay, let's try it. So I think it might work a little bit okay. And so we're going to try to show you how to demonstrate this. And Hetty, how could you use this one?
Yes, so exactly. So, the thing is that I usually have in my models, I have a spreadsheet that I do the typical sensitivity test for CapEx up, OpEx up, and things like that. But most of the time during the meetings, I'm asked to do like change couple of parameters at the same time, change the tariff, change the tax, and things like that, and compare different scenarios. So that scenario tab has been very useful for me. So
Okay.
I actually include it in all my models.
I'm sure you're the only person in the world who's ever done that. So let's show you how this works. So we're going to go to this website. And can you go to the one named Cost of Capital and Risk? I wanted to have a separate tab up there for scenarios, but I didn't have enough room for it. So I had to put it together with risk. So go down there to Scenario Reporter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm very nervous about this. Go put using Scenario Reporter. And what, and then, can you show me? How does this work? We're going to, we got a little explanation. I'll give you a secret. Hetty and I practiced this already, so it's kind of cheating. And then we're going to download the file.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
And then, so that the first step is, right, you could explain this to me, Hetty, but the basic, this file has to be open, right? We have to have this one open. And then,
Correct.
okay. Now, why did it say? Okay. Oh, maybe there's a macro in there. Okay, so that one has to be open. And do you have another file open, Hetty?
Yes, I have the solar model. The solar model open. Actually, this is one of the models from your website that we just opened.
This is this one that has all this UDF that shows you that it's better to be innovative and be somebody like Winston Churchill, who he broke circular references. And there's another man in the U.S. who's just a copy and paster. He just copies, Mussolini, this president of the U.S. He's a copy paster. We're gonna demonstrate the UDF method.
Exactly. So
Okay.
this is like a typical project finance model, which normally has the circular reference problem that typically people, they solve the problem with the copy and paste code. And here we have this beautiful UDF method that you will see that we can do wonders with it now with the model.
Okay. And we'll have another video, Hetty, right, about explaining that in much more
Exactly.
detail. This is the finished model. So again, the
Correct.
first step is you tell me the first step. I think don't we go to the parallel? What? No. This other scenario reporter, and we got to put that into the other model first, right?
Correct. Yes.
Now
So
you
I forgot, Ed, what was the shortcut to copy this
see,
sheet?
elle parle français. Elle parle parfaitement le français, la français. and her computer was in French. She switched it to English now. There's a nice little shortcut to copy the file. Alt-E-M. It's an old one from old Excel. Alt-E and then the letter M. And here's, when I did this in my class, I was really stupid because I forgot to have everybody click that little button on the bottom that says create a copy. And it's very necessary that you do that. Okay?
Correct.
And can you just put it in your model?
Okay, so we're going to put it in this current circular reference model, and where do you want us to put it?
You decide. That's a big decision. It's too big for you.
Yes. Okay, so I press OK.
Now,
all right.
There are two methods to use this. I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but Hedy always did the advanced method. And if you click on that little, can you click on the instruction box there, Hedy? No, the instruction box. That's a show comment. And there's a simple method for about me and 99% of the world, and that you don't have it's kind of like using our little generic macro thing. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is copy and paste it like this. And if you press OK, there's a more advanced method, and if you press yes there, this is just a little input box. Then you have to, if you do that one, you have to copy all the code in, and that's what Hedy's been doing. Now I'm going to do the simplistic method. The problem with the simplistic method is it leaves a link in your model. Hedy, did you say that's a crime or something?
Yes, that's one of the financial modeling crimes, Ed.
Oh, no. Okay. Oh, I'm going to leave a crime in there. I hope you don't put me in jail. Okay. Let's press OK. And
all
we're
right.
going to just do the simple method. So we did nothing but copy and paste this. And to test it, can you just click the one that says clear scenarios? Let's just make sure that all works.
Okay.
So you notice that the macro is, it's still working with that other file that's open. Okay. And now let's just change a couple of variables. So
all right. Shall I go to summary funding, which contains, I guess, all the...
Or how about summary waterfall? Because that's the summary funding is like before COD and summary waterfall is after. So we'll use both. But maybe let's see what happens to the equity IRR maybe and stuff like that. So how about we'll get the equity IRR, the debt to capital, and the DSCR. Those are output variables, and then we'll take a couple different input variables too.
Okay. Okay. Shall I first save the base case, like the current case?
Well,
in the
I think the first thing we have to do is would you mind just going to the scenario output and just up there in line 3, just put the
okay, you're right. Yes.
That's just on the title. Well, it already, just type equity IRR maybe.
Yes.
And so people don't yell at us, let's just do a few variables. Let's put DSCR, and then let's put, how about debt to capital? Those are our output variables. And let's just do a few scenarios. Let's do our go to the next one, and let's put our cash flow. That's going to be more like an input variable. That's like when you said you would do a scenario analysis for CapEx or something like that. And how about, let's test a couple of little tiny things. Let's test DSCR, go across to the next one, keep going across, and put DSRA as LC. That means we don't have, we're getting a letter of credit. Oh no, you have to, oh thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then how about we'll put DSRA in CFADS. This is what nobody can do if you do a copy and paste, by the way. It's just that circular reference is so messy. I'm not going to go through my long history. And then what else do we want to do? I think let's put EBL. And then let's also, why don't we test put a couple more, delete that little arrow thing. We don't need that. That was just my little instruction, and delete the next one. How about we'll put in the next one, let's put a credit spread and And then after the credit spread, let's put, what should we do? Tenor. How about the tenor?
Tenor. Exactly.
Oh, you spell it like an American. Interesting. You could, if you were in England, you'd spell it tenure.
Okay.
Yeah, put an equal sign. You tell me what to do now. You just go to the
So
model.
now I have to link them to my model.
Right. Oh, so
Right.
good.
Equity IRR. Here it is. The next one is the minimum debt service coverage ratio, which is also included in the summary here, 1.18. Debt to capital.
Wait, go back. Do you use to that one? Go ahead. Yeah, put the debt to
Yeah.
capital. Do you
Yes,
use Shift Control 1 for that?
Sure. Okay. And this one is if I have which I usually have it open. If I have the generic macro open, I can use Control, Shift and P, right, for percentage.
Amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think we didn't link it because I interrupted you. When we do more of these videos, I have to stop interrupting and let you talk much more.
No, and the next one, cash flow. Okay. So that one is a flag ad, right?
Yeah,
DSRA SLC. It's basically this one, which is false. And DSRA in CFADS, we have it as false as well. EBL, equity bridge loan.
In the funding thing. That's in the funding page.
Okay. EBL switch, it's false now. Perfect. Credit spread, we have it at 0.7% per year, and a tenor, we get it also here as
This is supposed to represent, I'm sure you see credit spreads in Africa of 0.7%, Eddie, right?
Exactly, yes.
I'm just joking. You'd never see this.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be.
Yes, we wish, Ed. We wish we see these things one day.
This is supposed to be a PPP project with a very tight DSCR. Okay, so now we're finished. Now you could say, "Oh, that took too long." Eddie did it in 2 minutes. I've been blabbering too much. She would have done it in half a second. And now she's going to make a base case. Let's call this our base case, and let's start varying things.
Okay.
Wait. Oh, right. Can you right-click on that copy scenario and just copy that to your copy that to summary waterfall? Yeah, that's.
Sure.
I forgot to tell you about that. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's going to make it easier. Okay. Shall I copy this scenario now, Ed, and save it?
Whatever you tell me.
Okay. So I love this part. So you get this message box that you can name it wherever you want. So base case. And we have it. So we save the base case here.
Okay, good.
All right. So what shall we do now? What scenario?
The copy scenario again.
Copy scenario again?
I'm making a mistake on purpose because I make mistakes. You don't.
Okay.
And you say, "Oh no, I didn't change anything. Oh no." Well, don't worry. What do you press then?
You put X here in the.
Enter. Just press enter.
Oh, just press enter. Okay.
No X. If you press X, it takes the last one away.
Ah, okay. So you see, I made a mistake.
So that's good. So go back to the summary waterfall. Let's do the same thing. Let's put back the base case. Now, for Eddie, that's not very important. For me, it's really important because I screw up so much.
Oh.
So now let's copy the scenario again. Go to copy scenario, and then let's just press enter, not X. And then it just leaves you where you are. So you understand the difference between X and enter. Exactly. X takes the last one away if you screwed up in the last one. Enter is just the next one. Now let's do something what I think is really interesting. Let's put the DSRA as a letter of credit. No, wait, before that. Put the DSRA deposits in CFADS. Most people will not have a clue of what I'm talking about. That's when you're sculpting the changes in the DSRA, you can say those are cash flow. And let's see what happens to the IRR if we do that. So, and I think did we put that as a variable? Now that the reason that you have those funny little spikes, those little mountains in our cash flow, oh, that looks like a monster almost. The reason you have that is because the DSRA is being used to pay off the end debt, and when the cash flow goes down, the DSRA the debt service goes down, and the DSRA goes down. There's a whole theory about that. Let's not get into that, but let's make a scenario. So let's copy that scenario.
Okay. And DSRA in CFADS. Okay.
And then you notice, Hetty, that I fixed that last night. You can see it now. How about let's unclick that one and let's put the DSRA as an LC.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. I just remembered, that once we do that, we don't need to click on any button and wait for it to run. It's just all done in the background.
Right. So let's copy that scenario. Oh, very good.
Okay.
Now let's try something else. Now let's increase the tenor of the debt from 19, let's say, to, 20 something. Let's make a much smaller tail.
Okay.
Now when you do that, here, keep going. Can you switch it? And I made a mistake here, Hetty. Can you switch it right now? Can you switch it from where upstairs where it says, because the DSCR is getting really, really high. Switch it to click on that one. Now, if you switch it to debt size from DSCR, click on that one, then it just puts it up. But we have 98% debt to capital. Let's put our maximum debt to capital as about 85%. Okay, and then once you do that, then let's click on that box again, that drop-down box again. So what I'm really doing, and let's put the last one, which is right now, it's either DSCR or debt to capital constraint. So now when you do that, it limits to 85%. Okay. Can you just make a scenario with what did we change? We changed the tenor with longer with 25-year tenor.
Exactly.
So I was teaching a class, and I said in those scenarios, some of my students just said scenario 1, 2, or 3. I think you should put a description there, shouldn't you? Okay. And then how about this? I think that's enough. Let's go to the summary funding, and let's click on that EBL switch. Do you see that? Now that's supposed to be a graph that shows you how the funding works. And my theory now, as I get older, is really a project finance has two cash flows. One prior to COD with sources and uses, one after COD with cash flow waterfall. So I'm trying to make a graph kind of both of them. And let's make that scenario. Oh, we better copy the scenario box to this page, shouldn't we?
Sure. Okay. So we call this one including EBL.
I think that's a very good.
All right.
And how about we'll make? Should we make one more? What? Equity IRR. Let's. What did we do? Let's put a different credit spread in now with that last one.
Okay. Let's go to Africa, huh?
Oh no! Oh no! It's making me cry. That's all?
No, that's not all. We have to go
to high enough.
We have to go to 5 to 6% because of the because of this guy Doma Duran. What is his name?
Well, it's really monopolies too. Yeah, very good. I better not criticize too much. I'm gonna start being nicer. Oh, good.
Okay, so we increase it.
Oh yeah, well go back. We just need to click on it. And why don't we? Yeah. If you press copy scenario, good.
Okay.
Now, can you imagine if you had copy? Can you imagine how many copy and pastes there would be to do all of this stuff? Can you press it? Let's put a balloon payment in, because that's what goes on. So what that means is, do you see down? Let's make a 10% balloon. Now, in a hydro project, I argue this would be a solution. This is like if some bank's going to be crazy enough to finance a residual value. Okay, but when you do that, oh my gosh, what? Well, I don't know why the equity. Oh, well, let's not make that one. Sorry, Hetty. Let's put that down. We'll do that a little bit later. Okay, how about this? I think now we've got your scenario. Now, what you could do is, when you go to the scenario page, do you ever just like copy all those scenarios to a new page? If you, I'm just saying something technical here. If you had this and you just could copy those, of course, to a new page. Hetty, could you click on lines 4 through line 11 and just take away our little grouping thing? So go all the way down to line 12 or something. Shift. Remember, what's that shortcut? I forgot.
It's Shift F.
Shift Alt, a left arrow.
All right.
That takes away our little grouping.
Exactly.
And then you go to line 4 and 5 and what is it? 4, 5, and 6. No, just 4 and 5.
Exactly.
Shift Alt right arrow, right?
Exactly. Yes.
And let's put a minus there. Now, what you could do is, of course, copy these to another sheet and start the whole process over again. Okay? Here's the problem with what we just did, though, Hetty, is that I didn't tell you, if you save this file and close it and reopen it, you'll get a link.
Yes.
And the reason you get a link is those buttons are attached to the macro in the other page. If you press Alt E and then K.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
what you can do is break that link, and I can never find that. Do you know how to find that page in Excel without the shortcut? I don't even know how to do that. Whatever. So now if you break the link, of course, the bad news about that is it doesn't work. Then and that's why we have that other method. But Hetty, why don't we make a second video for that other method?
Okay, exactly, yes.
Why don't we make a second video? And in that second video, let's put a waterfall graph into it. Because these scenarios, if you gradually go down, what happened to our equity IRR? I would like to explain to your boss really fast and have one of these diagrams that kind of walks through where we just add piece by piece by piece and really illustrate the scenarios. For me, a scenario, a lot of scenario crap, good stuff, is about making a good presentation around it. So how about stopping this video? Is that okay? You don't mind if I stop it? Okay, say goodbye. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Bye-bye.